Welcome back to the HX studio. Joining me now, Don Berger, CEO of Socialtables. That's a collaboration software for meetings and events. Thank you so much for being here.
Sure, thanks for having me. I love this setup.
Isn't this a great setup?
Awesome. Yeah, it's like smack in the middle of the show. You get to have a conversation. People can walk in. It's really cool.
Yeah, and they could ask you questions.
No.
This is good. No! That's what you want.
That is what I want.
You have a lot of interesting things to say.
Sometimes.
Well, let's talk specifically about the trends and predictions in meetings, hospitality, and travel. What are the major global trends that you're seeing?
So the way we think about trends in general is like, okay, what's happening globally? Like what's going on? And then how does that impact us 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line? And that's really hard to do. I am in no way an expert in fortune telling, but what I think we can do is we can look at other industries to see what's going on and kind of assume those things will apply to our industry as well. So at Socialtables, we look at meetings and events all the time because our vision is to create a world where meetings are more effective. Because right now, I don't know if you know this, but the number of meetings that are taking place in the workplace has literally doubled since 1999. There's right now 25 million meetings a day happening in the workplace.
That's unreal.
And ironically, we have less and less meeting space in the workplace because everything is open.
So there are major challenges there.
There are. So one of the things that I think is going on is as we look for more curated experiences at the meetings and events that we go to, just like this is an event right here, this is a big meeting. So as we go to these meetings and events and we're trying to create these transformational experiences, we are trying to customize them more. And because we customize them more, we need less things built out and more things custom built. So one of the things I think that will happen is new hotel inventory that will go online will actually have very barren meeting space. So imagine that instead of having a ballroom, you just have a warehouse. And that warehouse can be transformed every single time to provide that curated experience, as opposed to replace the carpet with something on top of it, or replace the chandeliers or something else. So
it'll just be bare bones. That's sort of what you're seeing.
And the same thing's going to happen with the room too. You know, I mean, the actual room is going to become more and more personalized. So I envision a hotel where they know your preferences to the point where they actually customize the room for you, because you're bringing your own devices, so you don't need an alarm clock. You know, you're bringing in essentially everything but the bed.
Yeah, exactly. You must know my suitcase and my packing travel.
Yeah, you pack light?
Yeah, no, not all the time. But I know it does feel like that when you go on a trip. You feel like, or a meeting, certainly you feel like you need to bring all of your mobile devices.
Right.
So how can companies sort of keep up with that? And what are the trends moving forward in your predictions as far as that goes?
I think that's really tough because if you think about the corporation, take software for example. Software is being discovered by the actual employees, so the younger generation is bringing in their favorite software to use in the workplace, and then the workplace has to catch up. For example, Dropbox. You know, you use Dropbox for photo sharing with your friends, and then before you know, you're starting to use it at work, and then before you know it, the entire enterprise adopts that solution. So I think in general, we have to just be more open to seeing those things and accommodate, and therefore the less you build and the less you design, the more you can do. Imagine a hotel, for example, they just bought, I still laugh at this. I walk in a hotel room and there's all these iPhone 4 connectors when the Lightning connector is what they use now.
Right.
So that's a good example of how we buy a ton of inventory that becomes pretty useless relatively quickly.
Well, and if it's sort of bare bones, it's almost easier in a way because you don't have to keep up with all that technology. You're not saying, okay, we have the iPhone 4 connector and now the...
And that really builds on another kind of trend that we've seen and is going to apply in meetings and events quite significantly, and that's this idea that the world is no longer composed of bureaucratic hierarchies, but really of technology-driven networks. And what I mean by that is, it used to be in a world where people would make decisions at the top and just expect everybody to follow suit. What we're seeing now is decisions are being made at the bottom, and then they trickle up to the top, and then decision makers are the one executing the will of the people. For example, let me just kind of take this concept and bring it down. Take, for example, Kickstarter. You know, people are asking for a product, funding the product, and then the company goes and builds it. So you get that validation beforehand. And the same thing is true with meetings and events. People are going to request a meeting, and then it will happen, as opposed to saying, "Oh, we have a trade show coming. Please come, please come."
Right.
I think that's going to completely change the dynamic of how we create and produce events.
Right, changes the way you do things, exactly. And lastly, I know you said that you think hotels will be doing more group business.
Right.
So that's sort of an emerging
Yeah,
trend
so,
or prediction for you.
you take, for example, what's going on right now with a big citywide meeting. Only about, this is according to HSMAI and DMAI research, Destination Marketing Association International. Basically, what they're saying is that only about, when you're booking a citywide event that takes up more than one hotel, and only a third of the rooms booked are through the room block. And that number is only slowly drop year over year because there were just more options for sleeping rooms.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Why is that? Yeah.
Home sharing is a perfect example. What I think is going to happen with the proliferation of home sharing, we just saw Expedia bought HomeAway for almost $4 billion.
Yeah.
So this industry is here to stay. And what we're seeing with home sharing is it'll drive the number, just the possibilities for the traveler. And as a result, we'll have less and less people staying in hotel, on the leisure side, less and less people staying in hotels, and therefore hotels will have to rely more and more on group business in order to fill up their boxes.
That makes sense. All right, interesting predictions that you have for us.
Yeah, so I'm speaking about all of them later on today, so I'm excited to do that.
That's excellent. Don Berger, CEO of Socialtables, thank you for being with us here at the
Thank you,
HX
Kara. I
Studio,
appreciate it.
and we'll see you next time.